Hello, and welcome back to Rapid Tech in 10, where we give you tech-related takeaways in 10 minutes or less. I'm your SoftwareOne host, Brie LeMay, and joining us this week, we have Nick Richards, General Manager of Customer Experience at SoftwareOne. Welcome to Rapid Tech in 10, Nick. We're super happy you could join us today.
It's awesome. Thanks for having me, Brie.
Yeah, so for our viewers, Nick ensures our customers are armed with the right solutions to enable them for near and long-term success. And I'm excited to dive into some exciting AWS solutions today. But before we get started, I do have an icebreaker question, of course, for you, Nick. If you were a superhero, what superpowers would you have and why?
I love questions like this. It really get you thinking. So I think I would have the power of weather control.
Ooh.
I'd love to wake up in the morning, maybe have a little snow on the ground or something. The rest of the day would be mostly spring, right? Nice, beautiful spring day, but I would want to take a nap, so you'd get a little rain for a little bit. Nighttime, make it real cold so you can go to sleep, right? Maybe with a
Yeah.
little inkling of a good hot summer day in there so you can go swimming.
Oh my gosh, no one has ever answered that question that way, and that has changed everything for me. Always a good question, and that's a really good answer. So let's kick off. Thanks for doing the icebreaker. A lot of valuable customer insights emerge primarily from interactions within the customer service center. We're hearing that time and time again. So starting with customer success representatives as well, having all these insights equips our business leaders with information to make really important decisions that influence both the customer experience and I think the prosperity of the company. So with that kind of said, can you talk to us about what a CCaaS or CCaaS solution is and why it's very important for business leaders to prioritize in today's time?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think a lot of organizations are starting to realize that the single most valuable source of customer feedback and customer preferences and taste really is in that call center, in the conversations you're having, voice calls, emails, chats, whatever. It's not just support related anymore, right? It's a lot of sales, revenue generating. The challenge historically, though, has been largely the technology landscape, right? So with the old school, back in the old days, you would have dozens, sometimes even hundreds of servers that would all have various technical interdependencies with each other, a lot of prerequisites, various operating systems, data center requirements, infrastructure, SIP circuits, all these things, right? Well, CCaaS, contact center as a service, is essentially abstracted from all that underlying technology infrastructure, right? So you're consuming it just strictly as a service, and the provider is managing all the infrastructure for you. So what does that mean? It used to be that we'd go weeks, usually even months, before you had the architecture provisioned, and you could get that first hello world, that first call through the system took months, right? Now it takes minutes, at worst hours, right? So usually the carriers, the providers can provision these things automatically. And then we log in and we can start building those experiences, right? So what's neat is the outcome is not just that you're removing that technology, but in doing that, you're getting a lot more agility and flexibility, right? So the outcome is that you can start orchestrating new experiences a lot more quickly. You can start experimenting. You can really focus on the use case itself instead of being bounded by these technological limitations. You can really start experimenting to see, do A/B testing and see if one scenario works better than the other. You can measure those outcomes against each other, and you can experiment without wasting investment in platforms and licensing and other capabilities, right? And then you get access to new technology a lot more. So with things like all the wonderful analytical capabilities we have now, things like generative AI, which is all anyone's talking about these days, you have access to those much more easily now because you don't have to build all the infrastructure for it. Okay. And then finally, you have the kind of the elasticity, the scale. So if you have suddenly a big influx of calls, often depending on the provider, you can scale from dozens of agents to hundreds, or some cases even thousands of agents in a matter of just a couple hours without having to go procure new hardware and new agreements with carriers and all those other things.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for sharing that. So for someone who knows now why this is so important. How do they get started, right? So we're talking about all these really amazing things. Getting buy-in from stakeholders and determining the right solution can be super tough. So can you share maybe some insights on how to ensure your company is in a good position to first take those steps and just start getting started?
Yeah, this is the billion-dollar question, right? So, um, it, look, unless you're the undisputed leader in your industry, you probably should already have gotten started on this, right? I think a lot of organizations tend to focus on the pursuit of perfection over progress, right? But I'm here to tell you, you need to just start by identifying 2 to 3 use cases that are they really move the needle for your business. These are the BHAGs, right? So these are the things that make your customers, your competitors, they make them say, "Wow, that's cool," or "Wow, that was great." And this is like your goal for the future, your beacon for what it needs to be, right? But then step back and look at 5, 7, maybe 10 easy wins. So these are smaller efforts. They're not big, massive efforts. These are usually small things that apply. You want to be really laser focused and targeted in where you apply them. The whole goal here is that you're trying to identify things that they're easy wins. They're things you're confident that you can execute on. There aren't too many stakeholders involved. And ideally, they map to and support those BHAGs, those big goals, right? So then if you're targeted, you're going to be more likely to succeed, right? So you're focused on what you're doing, you implement it. Again, focus on progress over perfection, right? Just get something done, move the needle a little bit, okay? And then as you execute on those easy wins, what you're going to find is that you're building trust, you're building confidence within your organization. And as a result, you're going to get a lot more support in capitalizing and delivering on those the larger efforts, right? You're going to learn a lot. You're gonna uncover some things you never thought to even look for, and you're gonna find that there's a lot more important issues going on than you ever knew were there. But you're able to course correct, move on, start small, execute, deliver, use that momentum organizationally to go tackle those big goals, right? And here's an important lesson I've seen over and over again, right? Again, this kind of maps back to progress over perfection again. What you'll find is that the often people will be more excited with benefits and just solving their problems, getting some of the annoyances out of the way, than they will be annoyed by any shortcomings. So if you're delivering something, even if it's not perfect, if it's advancing for them, if it's making things better and eliminating some of the small pains, it's going to be a win, right? And so after you get a few of the small wins, you're going to see more support from the executives. The stakeholders are going to be more confident in your ability to deliver. You're going to have fewer roadblocks. And if you've done it right on the small initiatives, you're already going to be whittling away at a lot of the work to execute on those big ones.
I love that. You guys heard it. Start small, progress over perfection. And I think we can apply that in so many different parts of our life, including business. Thank you so much, Nick. As always, I'm extending a big thank you to all of you for tuning in again to SoftwareOne's Rapid Tech in 10. To learn more about contact center as a service solutions and how to develop a plan to execute, visit our website, and I'll also link it in the comments. Make sure to follow us on YouTube for more exciting tech content and from your friends in tech at SoftwareOne. As always, thank you for watching.